Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Wait, take.
Throw. End zone. Caught. Terrence Williams. Touchdown, Cowboys. Tony Romo.
They go for the shotgun. Roger looks left. Fires it out there. Caught by Tony Hill. Touchdown, Cowboys.
15 to the 10, he'll score. Emmitt Smith dances to the end zone. The Cowboys have taken a 2-score lead.
Play fake to throw it out of the end zone.
Going way down the field for Michael Irvin, bumping and grinding at the 5. Oh, he's got it. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Over the middle, caught by Witten, who loses his helmet but still keeps going. A penalty. All the pressure on the left side. He drops the ball, throws, caught, Witten. Touchdown.
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed.
99 yards and a half.
Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds.
Can you believe that?
And short because they're 99 yards.
Prescott able to get out of the end zone and now airs it out for Lamb. He's got it. He's gone. When he gets there, it's a touchdown, Cowboys. On top.
You want to know what an all-pro looks like? Watch Michael Irvin here. He'll battle you all the way down the field.
Motion on first down, Aikman. Harper. Was that beautiful? Touchdown, Dallas. Men on the rush. Pass is caught. Deflection. Touchdown. Cowboys win. Amari Cooper.
Throws it down the field. It's caught at the 10. And this game is over. The Cowboys win it. C.D. Lamb.
But no. But you understand, we do have one game left to play. Hey, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camp, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired, the whole bit. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
What is up, Cowboys Nation? We are live on X again. Welcome back to another episode of Sons of the Star. I am your host, Dallas. Joining me again today is a man you all know very well. It is the one and only Cowboy Reg. How we doing, Cowboy Reg? Happy July 13th. We are about a week and a half away from the beginning of training camp. I consider this to be the last off-season podcast. So What's going on? Tell us about life. What's going on in South Carolina? What's going on in Cowboys Nation Twitter? Tell us what's up.
Yeah. First of all, how's my audio? You hear me okay?
Fantastic.
All right. So, last week I talked right away and I said how freaking hot it was here in South Carolina. And I'm telling you right now, it's hotter this week than it was last week. We have no air moving. That system is just sitting down on us. We had, 70, 80% chance of rain today. Never rained. We just sat there and just boiled, man. So I'm happy to be in the AC here in the Cowboys headquarters of my house where I got my Notre Dame and my Cowboys gear. AC's flowing, and I'm sure glad I'm not outside. But yeah, we're doing good. How's Mississippi over there?
It's been pretty hot. But it's better than it was last year. But yeah, we've been the humidity's been pretty brutal, but we're getting a decent amount of rain down here in South Mississippi. So usually the storms are rolling in the afternoons, kind of cooling things off. But we actually, we spent some time outside, a little bit of time outside this morning, and it wasn't terrible. So it's more bearable than it was last year, but it's still pretty damn hot. So I think it's pretty brutal all around right now. So
it is.
Luckily we got north. It's a great time to sit in the house and podcast in the AC. Hey, we got a comment already from Hot Take City saying, "We here, let's go. How about those Giants?" All right, Hot Take. Well, how about them? I don't I don't know what's going on with the New York Giants right now. I know we got a little HBO show going on with the New York Giants this year, like Hard Knock. I think it's off-season Hard Knocks. They're not recording training camp, but like some like the off-season stuff.
Yeah, and
That should be
hot
interesting.
take, fill us in. But I read on social media a little controversy about the way Saquon was fielding calls or talking to other players, and it looks like it was a foregone conclusion that he had been tampered with. I mean, excuse me, that he had made up his mind to go to Philly. No, so maybe Hot Take can fill us in on that. I have not watched the show. I don't unfortunately have HBO, but when it comes out on Netflix, if it does, I'll be watching. Or if Hot Take, you want to slide into my DMs and give me your password, I'll go check out the show. How about that? But
Yeah,
hey,
Hot Take.
We love the
Go ahead.
Giants. We're huge Giants fans. I mean,
Oh.
we get 2 W's a year from the Giants.
Oh,
So I mean,
man.
come on. We love them New York Giants. We're 2-0 going into the season when we see that schedule. Hot Take. What do you think of that Hot Take? Now, hot Take's my boy. Big shout out to Hot Take. If you're not following him on X, you need to do so. He's a Giants fan. He's a Yankees fan. Whether you like the Giants and Yankees, doesn't matter. He's got some hot takes on all your teams, baseball, football, basketball, sports in general. He's got a lot of hot takes. Couple cold takes mixed in now and then. Not going to lie, couple cold takes, but he's Hot Take City for a reason. I respect his page.
Yeah, right on. You guys got some drama out in the Bronx with that brawl last night in Baltimore.
Yeah, that was great. I was watching that live, and yeah, just my opinion. Hot Take might jump in and tell us what he thinks, but the Baltimore manager was way out of line, man. He was way out of line. The players had already kind of given each other the head nods and I'm sorry's, and people were checking on the hitter, and all of a sudden the manager turned towards Holmes and shout something towards the mound. Holmes walked forward to kind of clarify what he said, and then the bench is cleared. It was outstanding. Nobody threw a punch that I know of, because the only one thrown out was the Baltimore manager was thrown out. But look, man, pouring down rain. Yankees got a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 9th. Rain's pouring down. The ball's slippery. You think they're trying to put a batter on? You think they're trying to hit somebody? Hell no, they're not trying to hit anybody. That's ridiculous. I'm glad he was thrown out. He probably should be, and I haven't checked today. I haven't seen any news roll across my timeline, but probably should take a seat for a couple, 3 games, in my opinion. Managers should probably not be causing fights on the field.
Yeah, that's
just
an interesting one.
I
mean, I haven't seen that in a long time. Like you said, I don't think they definitely weren't trying to plunk them. And if you do, no matter how bad the blood is between the teams, you're never trying to hit a guy in the head with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
And
I've never.
I'm completely neutral when it comes to baseball. I had no opinion on that game. I had,
of course
I had no take.
Of course not.
So,
you're a professional.
I'm just going by what I saw, and it was all Baltimore. It wasn't New York, but I'm neutral on it, as you know. Wasn't me.
Yeah, man. It's I think there's a little frustration at Baltimore. They've lost. They got swept by my Cubbies, and then New York came in and was about to beat them. I think the manager was coming in trying to get a little spark for the team, but I think he went a little too far. I would agree with that.
Oh, he got spark. He got spark for a team. He got a spark for this team right here. That's who he sparked.
Yeah.
You're gonna wake the sleeping Giants today, boy. I tell you. Yeah, who knows, man? Baseball's so funny. It's so streaky, right? It's so streaky.
Yeah.
Hot Take did pop in and say that he felt Saquon had made up his mind based on what he saw on the show.
Yeah, we'll get off the baseball subject. Real Hot Take City says Baltimore manager is way out of line. Yeah, we agree with that. And he said the Giants are in shambles, and Saquon definitely made up his mind before the offseason that he was leaving. Yeah, man, that's tough, but I just don't. I don't get why guys jump to the same division like that.
Yeah, I've heard there's been rift between Daniel Jones and Saquon for some time, but they just kind of managed it professionally. But I'm not surprised to hear that Saquon wanted to get out. Not sure how that went down. I know there was some accusations and even a little. Has Philly been penalized yet? Did they lose draft pick or anything? I
Not
don't
that I know
remember.
of.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that's still pending the tampering issue over there, but it's not going to be a death penalty. If you're hoping the Eagles are going to be affected by the tampering penalty when it drops, it's probably going to be like a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick that they lose in a future draft, and they can maneuver around that. Hey, it's a penalty's a penalty. Fines mean nothing to the owners. What does a fine mean? They're gonna fine players more than they're gonna get fined, and it's all gonna equal out in the end. But look for Philly to have some sort of penalty on that tampering, but not enough that's going to affect their team in any way.
Yeah, I don't see. I see the investigation still going on when it comes to the Eagles tampering. I don't see any issues coming down yet. I don't try to follow them too closely. I just don't give them the time of
Yeah,
day.
and
But
I wish
not that I know of it.
Jerry needs to
Hot
take
Take
notes
said
and do some tampering on his own.
they didn't get punished. It won't get punished at only Atlanta did with Kirk. Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard too. So the Falcons were punished a little bit with Kirk Cousins, but and that's just all about contacting, guys that are potentially going to be free agents before they officially hit the free agent market. Which is I'm sure a lot of teams do it and don't get caught, but it's a scumbag move, man. It's scummy. I mean,
Well,
if you really, and I say that kind of jokingly, but if you think about it, like if you got teams reaching out to players like before the season's over, because their season might already be over, which definitely is what happened with the Kirk Cousins and Saquon, players, right? Their seasons were over before the end of the NFL season. Their teams' seasons were over. And in Kirk's case, it was with an injury. So, yeah, man, that's a shitty move, I would say, by the other organizations, because especially as a fan, you think of guys that are on your team that are already thinking about their next location. I mean, that's pretty rough. So, no
yeah,
love
they're
lost in the
definitely
NFL, but
they're not going to be putting any effort in. They're going to be trying to prevent getting hurt and all that. But that kind of comes with the contract situation too, and we've talked about that with Dak. Dak doesn't get signed. How does he play reckless? Does he run the ball on? Does he run out of traffic in the pocket and take off running and take a hit, knowing that he doesn't have a contract next year? I would like to hope Dak would. His character tells me he would, but a lot of players in the NFL shut it down when they don't have a contract, or they, start declaring a minor ankle sprain as a 3-week injury or whatever. When they're mathematically eliminated, they don't want to be out there getting hurt. And I mean, I can understand that. I get it.
yeah,
So you got to get those deals done. And if you want a guy to stay, you get the deal done
yeah.
before the end of the year.
You
If you
don't let
don't
him
want
hit
him
the market.
to stay, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what the Giants are saying to Saquon without saying it is apparently they didn't want him. If they wanted him, they would have signed him before the year or during the year, But so he starts getting text messages from his buddies, and it's probably one of those deals where they're all buddies, and one guy texts him from the Eagles and say, "Hey man, we could use you. I'll talk to somebody, blah blah blah," and there's your tampering. So, whether they can prove it or not, that's a whole nother story. So maybe, like you said, maybe that penalty does not happen and they just walk away. I don't care. We've talked about it before. I'm not a big Saquon fan. I think he gets hurt too much. I think that he is getting overpaid for his production. We're still paying him for what he did at Penn State. Look at his NFL stats, man. They're top 5 running back, but not number one. Not number one the way they're paying him and the way they're hyping him. But hey, we'll find out.
I wouldn't
very soon.
say he's top 5 though.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably not.
that's
No,
a couple of recent years.
I'm being very
That's
generous.
generous.
Very generous because we've talked about
Maybe
it
on
before.
games he's played.
Yeah.
Even then.
Tony Pollard has better numbers than him all the way across the board. We've discussed that and we've looked at those numbers. And I'm not upset that he's out of town. So that pretty much tells you how I feel about Saquon. man, I was praying we didn't go after Saquon and pay him. And, if we would have paid him, how the hell we are having trouble paying CD and Micah and Dak now. Imagine if we would have went out and got Barkley, there's your guy you're paying, and the other guys will probably have to wait. It's already hard enough to get him in now.
Exactly. So, yeah, we've kind of already, taken some questions and gotten off the rails a little bit, but kind of what I wanted to say to my previous point when I opened the podcast is it's pretty exciting times here. Like I said, I consider this the last off-season podcast. What I mean by that is next week we're going to give you a training camp review before training camp starts on the 25th. And then after that, we got training camp. So what we're going to be talking about on the podcast is what's going on in training camp. We get that for a few weeks, and then we get to dive into preseason games, and then it's the regular season, man. So, the clock is ticking. We are close. I can smell it. I can smell it in the air. It's coming. I can feel it in the air tonight. We're going to get some NFL football here so soon, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. So, what I wanted to kind of lead off with today is, and you already hit on it, Cowboy Reg, is the Dak Prescott injury situation. So a little more information has come out about the Das Boot. And, we were talking about last podcast what was going on, and we have some quotes here from Dak Prescott. So what Dak said was, and I quote, "Honestly, I'm getting older. It's the same ankle that I snapped and I had a nasty surgery on 4 years ago. So a couple of hard days of training, and, you get a little sore and you're going on a fishing trip. You want to protect it and make sure things don't get worse." This means that Dak really hasn't had any injury at all, was just cautious about it. Kind of what I've heard is his foot might have been stepped on in one of the OTAs.
That's
And
exactly what I heard as well. Yeah.
A little uncomfortable. So it kind of flared up again. And like you said, there's a little bit of truth to the saltwater situation where if you go out on the boat and it comes in contact with salt water, it was going to swell up. So he was just wearing a boot as a precautionary reason. And the last kind of quote from Dak here to close it out was literally, "It's absolutely nothing. People are reaching, trying to make things that they aren't. I'm getting older and have to take care of my body. I have to be smart. If I could take precautions and lessen something by putting on a boot, I'll do it. Sorry that I caused such a worry." So that's it from Dak. He says it's nothing super precautionary, nothing to worry about. Any comments on that, Cowboy Reg? Is case closed?
Well, hey, first of all, Dak, we forgive you, but I stick by what I said last week. If you got a boot on, don't come out of the house again. You say you're sorry you caused this, little drama or commotion or whatever. Yeah, you sure did. You walk outside the house with a boot on, and you're a $60 million man, starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to want to know why you have that boot on. But the other thing I heard that was reported this week was that was actually weeks ago. That video came out late. Their picture.
Yep.
I don't think it was a video. It was a picture. So he's already, whatever was going on with that foot is already over with. I don't even want to say healed, because he's saying it wasn't really an injury, but more of a precaution that his foot may have been stepped on or whatever. So all that's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, I'll stick by what I said last week. Don't come out of your house into public. Assume that everyone, and I think he was down in Mexico when the picture was taken. Yeah, so
he sure was.
First of all, I don't care what country you're in. You're a Dallas Cowboy. We know who you are. You're the quarterback of the Cowboys. Like it or love it, wherever he goes worldwide, he's going to be recognized. Don't go outside the apartment. Don't go outside the condo, hotel room, whatever, with the boot on. Unless you're going to announce ahead of time, I'm wearing this boot because A, B, and C, and then come out of the house. But, these guys, man, hey, Dak, that's kind of a rookie move, man. You should know better than that. That's all I got to say about that is he should have known better. He caused all that stress and anxiety amongst fans, amongst coaches. May affect his contract negotiations as well, right? I mean, you're getting ready to sign the line on a $60 million contract, and the dude's walking around in a boot. Wait a minute. Let's back up a little bit, right? So, I don't like it, but it's over, I guess.
That's what I kind of wanted to bring up. I mean, obviously, he was very healthy last year, but as we move into this season, it's a different season, and And what we all said last year was, man, wouldn't it be nice if, Dak was more mobile? And he was. Like he showed last year he was a little more comfortable after that injury in 2020. As the years go on, it gets a little better. He was a little more mobile. He's moving around the pocket more, scrambling a little bit. That's what he really needs to do for this offense to be more successful. And you could tell when the Cowboys really need a first down or when they're kind of behind in games, Dak started to scramble again to pick up those yards. It was never the first priority. I don't think it was ever really. There's a few plays more at the goal line where he might take an option run in himself, but not a lot of designed runs for Dak Prescott. That's not what I'm calling for, but it sure would be nice if he would scramble more. And like I said in previous podcasts, we're coming in. We have a lot of question marks when it comes to the offensive line. We have a lot of question marks when it comes to the running game. So, the strength of this offense is going to be, can Dak Prescott be somewhat dual threat in obviously the passing game? So I would hope coming into next season that he's able to run. If he's got this lingering little foot ankle issue that's going to limit his mobility, it really does concern me. And like you said earlier, you didn't say it about Dak, but just quarterbacks or players in general heading into a free agency year where he doesn't have a contract. Is he going to sacrifice his body to get a first down? Is he going to take a sack or is he going to really move out if the Cowboys don't decide to sign him and extend him? That's what's worrying me about this thing. Like Dak Prescott can come out and say it's nothing, but to me it is something because of his current situation. And that's a failure on both parties, in my opinion. That's a failure on the front office because you really don't want a quarterback going into free agent. Like I guess it can be a positive because he wants to get paid, but at the same time, like you want this guy to be your franchise quarterback. From what I'm hearing, why is he not signed coming into training camp? It's concerning to me.
Yeah, it is, and I want him to take a team friendly deal. That's me being greedy. I want to see another Super Bowl, but Dak has leverage too. His stats say that he should be paid in one of the highest, if not the highest contract right now coming in. So it's really a struggle. And it's funny because you got the three-headed monster, Micah, CD, and Dak, and they'll their agents and their hardcore fans are all going to point at Jerry and say pay, pay, pay. But as we discussed last week, you cannot pay all three of them top contracts for their position. If you play all three of them top contracts for their position, there's your team for the next 5 to 10 years. Those three guys, and then a bunch of guys that aren't getting paid, but the league minimum. So, I'm obviously exaggerating a little bit, but not much. Not much. You pay three contracts top for their position in the NFL, and that's basically what their agents are asking for, reportedly. You just can't operate a team. So something's got to give. Somebody's probably not going to get signed this year. And, I feel like it's Dak. I really do. And the team's saying he's priority. He's going to be the first one signed. I disagree. I don't feel that that's going to happen unless Dak wants it to happen, unless he backs off and says, hey, I'll play for 40. I'll play for 45, 47, something like that. Team friendly. Geez, man, give me one of them team friendly $40 million deals and I'll be good to go. But I don't know. You want $60 million, Dak? It's going to be tough mathematically to get all three of you guys signed, and the other two are younger and they're not walking around in a boot. I'm just saying.
Well, I think that's why when we talk about when Jerry came out and said all in, I mean, we all laughed about it, but it actually, if you break down the cap numbers, this is the year that makes sense. Like what they're rolling into the next year, it makes zero sense at all. Like the front office, in my opinion, is a complete failure. I think they're a joke because if you look, and this is one of my segments today I wanted to break down, was the percentage of cap space that our top three players are taking up next season and the season following. Like you still have CD and Micah on under market value this year. So like if this was the year to restructure Dak's contract, potentially sign another star on a 1-year deal, you still have DeMarcus Lawrence getting paid through this year. Like, you still have DeMarcus Lawrence, which I'm going to break it down here in a second, but I don't know if we're going to be able to pay D-Law next year unless he takes a super team-friendly deal. You might potentially have the last year of Zach Martin, one of the greatest, linemen in Cowboys history. Like, we really should have gone all in this year, and we failed to do so. And it's like, man, some days I wake up and I wonder why I put this polo and this hat on, because like what the fans are asking for and what the front office is showing is like two totally different teams. And we can go on about how successful Jerry Jones has been as an owner, and it's true, but like, this front office right now is complete dog shit. They're awful. They are a terrible front office. Like, can we break this thing down? Like, before I go too into depth, you can tell I'm fired up, but do you disagree with that, Cowboy Reg? Is there something I'm missing here, or was this actually the year to go all in?
It is, and we thought they would. I keep thinking about that Super Bowl the Rams put together a few years ago, and I'm thinking, man, let's just freaking do it. You talk about
Why not?
building a team for the future, and I get that, but you know what? It's been 28 years, guys. It's time to just go all in, and then we can rebuild after that. But yeah, I agree. I don't agree. They're I don't know if you said the worst front office. They're not the worst front office in the NFL.
No, but I still think they're
but
bad.
I'm gonna, you and I have different takes in like, we kind of, when we write about this show, what's unique about this show. I'm old enough that I've seen 5 Super Bowls, and you've seen 0. So your patience is a lot thinner than mine. I have a little bit more patience because I've seen
That
those.
is for sure.
But it's been 28 years, man. I got some gray coming in now, and things are a lot different than they were 28 years ago, and I'm still sitting here waiting. So it could go all in right now. I'll be very happy. I'll wait another 28 years again if you could go all in and get one now. But they seem to be thinking like, hey, we're going to build a dynasty for 5 years or whatever. These are the 3 guys that are going to make it happen. But at this point, nothing's budged. We come on this show every week and we say, here we are again. We got, these 3 guys waiting on contracts, and we got training camp coming up. I do my little series on Twitter about how many days till kickoff. 54 days till kickoff. 54 days in our 3
Shout out Brian Urlacher.
No. Shout out to
Randy
White. Randy
Him
White.
too.
The Manster, 9-time Pro Bowl winner, Dallas Cowboy for life, Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor, and defense, the first defensive MVP, co-MVP with Harvey Martin, Super Bowl 12. No notes in my hands, boys and girls. I remember that stuff. I was around.
Yeah, it must be nice there, Cowboy Reg. So, yeah, let's talk. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I really enjoy that stuff. The jersey numbers. 53 though.
You gotta wait till tomorrow to find out. I can't spoil it.
We got a 53?
Well, there's been a 53. There's been 53s. We don't have one right now.
Were they any good?
You find out tomorrow.
All right, I'm excited. 53 is an odd number.
It is. There's been a couple tough ones. There's been a couple tough ones where it's really hard to find.
I can think a 53 is maybe an offensive line. Obviously, usually linebackers wear something in the 50s, but 53, I potentially see an O lineman, a pretty decent O lineman that wore 53.
Yeah, and there's a little bit
off the top of my head.
You go old school, you start to see a little bit different numbers too. So you can usually find some old school player that's got some weird number. They used to have quarterbacks, number 90 something or 70 something.
Yeah.
So
love that.
We can go old school if we have to, but we'll have a 53 tomorrow. Don't worry.
I'm excited to see it. All right, so let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys their salary cap heading into last year. So I hinted on this last week, and what I'm looking at here is what is the percentage of some of your top players? What are they taking percentage-wise of your team salary cap? So heading into 2024 season, we have the top 3 players that will take up the most salary cap for the Dallas Cowboys. Is Dak Prescott at number 1. He's going to take about 22% of the team's total salary cap. Number 2 is DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to take 8% of the team's salary cap. At number 3 is CeeDee Lamb. he's going to take 7% of the team's overall salary cap. So put that together, little math, is 36% of your overall salary cap is spent on those three players. The only team higher, from my research, going into the 2024 season, which has three, considering three players that are taking up the most space on salary cap, is the Cleveland Browns. They have three players taking up 41%, with Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett, and maybe Amari Cooper. I can't remember the third guy, but that's the only team that's higher when it comes to three players taking up that big of a chunk of salary cap. If you look at some of the best team in the NFL going into next season, everyone would say is a Kansas City Chiefs, and you say, you got Mahomes, you got Kelsey, you got what's their Christian? Who's their defensive tackle that's so dang good that they re-signed?
Jones.
Yeah, you look
Chris
at that
Jones.
guy, Chris Jones, and you say, okay, they got to have a huge number. They got to be way over the Cowboys. They're only at 35%, and Travis Kelce is only taking up their fourth most salary cap space. So you look at the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns, and you say, okay, they're paying the biggest amount of money for three players in any other team in the NFL. You got to assume that they're spending money on the best three players in the NFL. Well, that's more like the story for the Dallas Cowboys than it is the Cleveland Browns, because Deshaun Watson's getting paid like between 25 and 30% of his team's overall salary cap, which is insane. I mean, they might be in some deep water heading into next season. But I think it's telling to say,
They went
okay,
all in.
wait a
They went
sec.
all in on Deshaun Watson. They went
They
all
did,
in.
but like, man, I mean, you look at this team and you say, okay, it kind of makes sense why we weren't able to make any big moves in the offseason, is because like we are locked into these three guys. And what name did I not mention in that? I didn't mention Micah Parsons, because
No.
he's still only taking a $5.4 million cap hit in 2024. Next year, that's going to be almost four times as much. He's going to be taking a $21.3 million in
Well,
2025.
and he wants a contract next year. He's going to play. I think he's going to play this year regardless, but he's going to want that contract next year. So that number is going to go up. Right? Well, you stretch the contract
exactly.
out, you backload the contract, the number can go down. Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
So, yeah, here's where I'm going with this, is that the elephant in the room is that Dak is taking up 22% of your team salary cap. This is your franchise quarterback. Why isn't this guy signed? What are we missing here? I don't understand. Like, to me, as time moves on, I think they might be actually moving on from Dak Prescott, because why would you not re-sign him? Because he is taking up three times as much salary cap space as any other player on the Dallas Cowboys. And to me, he is the one player out of all the top guys we talk about that would probably be willing to take a team-friendly deal. This is his third contract. This is the time to do it. He's already had his big payday.
He has not. You have to talk to him about that, because he has never taken a team-friendly deal. Unfortunately, I think I've said it before on the show. I think Dak Prescott has the best agent in the business. Whoever his agent is, that's who you need to call, because he gets him paid every time. But yeah, I said this. We've talked about this for probably 6 months. However long we've been doing this show, I keep telling you the elephant in the room is actually Trey Lance. Why did Jerry or Steven, Will McLean, whoever pulled the trigger, why did they trade for this guy, and what's he doing? And then you start to look at every single week that goes by and Dak's not signed. My little tinfoil hat theory is we're going to watch him play the preseason, and then we'll decide what Dak's contract, if there's going to be one. I think Jerry's going to use that preseason as a tryout for Trey Lance, and we're going to find out, is that the future? Or, he doesn't look that great, or it's going to take a few years for this to develop. You know what, Dak? Let's get back in that office and pound out this contract. That's my theory. CD Lamb is the guy I'm just shaking my head. Why isn't he signed? That's the one I don't understand. And that's the guy who's threatening to hold out. So get him signed first.
Yeah, I think you gotta work CD's contract to not. You don't have you have a decent amount of cap space left this year, which I don't know what they plan on doing with it. But you got to stretch CD's contract out to where you have a decent amount of cap space next year. You start paying him a a bigger chunk of change next year and go up from there. But yeah, so another point I had was CD's taking up his current contract is at just about 18 million in cap hit for next season, but his market value is at 34 million. So
Yeah.
he's pretty much his market value is double what he's being paid for this season. No wonder the guy's holding out. You got to get that
Yeah.
contract done. I already mentioned it, but Mike is only taking a $5.4 million cap hit this year. It goes up to 21.3 million next year. And we don't really know what his market value is going to be when he becomes a free agent in 2020 after the 2025 season, but it's going to be more than 21.4 million.
That's
So,
for sure.
and what are we going to do with D-Law? Are we moving on from D-Law? Like, I would hope not.
Yeah,
I guess
you may have
we'll
a
see.
DeMarcus Ware situation, unfortunately, where
Yeah.
he moves on. It's a similar age and similar skill set, and I don't know DeMarcus Lawrence, man. I look at him and I say he's a Dallas Cowboy. I would not be surprised if he did some team friendly move and get one more contract in. He's made his money and he's getting older, and hopefully that's a guy that does it. Like you said, Dak should be a guy that considers that team friendly deal. But man, these agents, I don't know. Some of these guys got power of attorney, and Dak has said it before. He said, I don't have I play for fun, or I don't play for money. That's what Dak said. I don't play for money. That's because
Shit.
his agent does all the money talk. He doesn't do anything. He just goes out and plays, and the agent takes care of the rest. Well, agent's getting a percentage. I don't think the agent gives a crap whether the Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl or not. He's got other athletes that he's representing on other teams. So he's just looking out for that one individual. He's looking at the stats, and he says Dak's worth $60 million. And Jerry says, no, he's not, because he hasn't given us a ring. So it's a catch-22. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
the tag for Dak next year. Well, I don't know that, because this year they can move on from him, or he can negotiate in free agency. So if he goes elsewhere, I'm not sure. Dallas, do you know if we've got to eat any of that money if he goes elsewhere?
So 2025 is a void year for Dak. So usually
Yeah.
what that would mean, and right now it's a cap hit of 40 million. So from my knowledge, what that means is they could come to an agreement on that $40 million contract. But if they restructure, or if he moves on to another team, essentially what that void year means is that it goes away. So no, the Dallas Cowboys would not be on the hook for that.
It's not a
Once he hit,
Russell
because
Wilson.
he is an unrestricted free agent after that year.
Yeah,
So
and
there
if
should
Dallas, if they had
yes, hot
to
take, after this year, he is an
yeah,
unrestricted free agent.
yeah, yeah, and if they
So
did have to eat that 40 million, he's going to go somewhere else and get paid 50, 60 million. So then they would cover that 40 million, I assume. That's the way it was explained to me with the Russell Wilson situation, because somebody signed him for the Steelers signed him for like 2 million or something. So the Denver's eating all that money because he's overpaid. Dak would not be overpaid at 40 million. Just since we're talking about the Steelers, there's a team that's rumored to want Dak. They'll pay 60 million for Dak. They will easily. So Dallas doesn't have to worry about covering any of that salary cap that I know of. We could do a little more research, but I don't think that's been an issue, or it hasn't come up in anything I've heard.
yeah, it's interesting. I think so. The difference in the Russell Wilson situation was this: Denver went ahead and actually released him. What would happen with Dak
Right.
is, he's choosing to move on in that free agency. So
Yeah.
that's when you really know that you are not liked by your team, because Denver is openly coming out and saying, we know we're going to take this huge hit in cap space, but we just take our money, just get the hell out of
Right.
here, man. We don't want anything to do with you. That's what they did with Russell. So it's a very different situation for Dak, which is also not a bad thing for the Cowboys, because he,
No.
even if he does move on, he should perform decently well this year. So there's a lot that goes into it, but Yeah, like Hot Take said, Steelers would welcome Dak with open arms. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't see the Steelers as being they haven't proven to be big spenders when it comes to offensive players. So I don't know if they would pick up, his market value right now is $54 million. I don't that doesn't seem like a Steelers move to me to spend that kind of money on a quarterback.
Well, maybe their new coach next year will want to do that.
Oh,
Since they,
whoa.
I'm a Tomlin fan. I'm just
You're right about
poking
that. You're right
I'm
about that.
poking them. I'm poking them Steelers fans that keep posting online that Tomlin sucks. And I've said all along, I'll take Tomlin in a heartbeat over here in Dallas. So if they don't get it done this year, is the reason why they'd go after Dak, right? They get it done this year with Wilson or with Fields, and they're not looking towards Dak. But if they don't get it done, that means they need a quarterback, and it also means they probably need a head coach, because I think Tomlin's on a short leash over there. He keeps getting them hanging around the playoffs, hanging around, but not doing anything. He might be gone after this year if he doesn't get it done, and they might start with a new coach and a new quarterback. But hey, let's hope that something gets worked out with Dak and we don't have to worry about that. But it is a real possibility.
Yeah, but to me, that's a front office thing. And
Yeah.
as I look at some of the spending when it comes to Steelers, I mean, the Steelers don't pay an offensive player until Najee Harris. He's their 14th most paid guy on their team.
Wow.
He's taken up
That's amazing.
1.63% of the team's salary cap space. Like,
that's crazy.
well, I'm sorry. There's 3 guards there that take up more money than him, but
No
offensive
big position
skill player.
offensive players.
Right.
Yeah, skill players, yeah.
They don't pay a quarterback. They actually Justin Fields is their 18th most paid player on their team. And Russell's not till 33. So, man, I tell you, if they get value out of Fields or Russell this year, like, watch out
They'll
for the
keep them.
Steelers. Like,
Yeah, they'll keep them.
pretty good stuff.
They won't even mess around in free agency. They got 2 guys right now that they're going into the season. We're thinking one of these guys is going to be a hit. We don't know which one. We're going to find out. So, I don't see. I think the Steelers will be 10-7 or 9-8 like they always are. Maybe they'll win a playoff game and they'll keep Tomlin and they'll keep their quarterback. That's a safe bet with the Steelers. But if the wheels fall off the bus, Tomlin could be gone and Dak could be a Steeler. We shall see.
Man, yeah, I'll believe when I see it. Do I think they would welcome him as a player with open arms? Yes, I do. But from a money standpoint, it doesn't seem like their type of deal. But we'll see, man. I mean, who knows? Time will tell. So that's all I have on the salary cap stuff. Unless you have any more comments on that.
No, I mean we covered it well last week. What I want and what I think is happening are 2 different things. But again, what I think is happening is they're going to evaluate Trey Lance in preseason, and a lot of you guys are probably laughing at me saying that, but show me where the signs don't point that way, because we're right there on the cusp of the preseason starting, and we still don't have Dak Prescott signed. So what else could it be? I think they want to watch Trey play a little bit, and if he lights it up and he does something special that you like, man, this is sustainable. Why would you let him go? He's young. What do we figure out? He's 24, and he just turned 24. I mean, and Dak's over here in his boot talking about, well, I'm getting older, so I got to take precautions. Dude, that's not helping your negotiation saying stuff like that. It really isn't when you got a kid behind you that was really hyped up in the draft a few years ago. So I don't get it. I don't know what he's talking about, why he's saying that. But my prediction is we will not sign Dak until after the preseason, during the preseason, somewhere around there, because they want to see what Trey's got. CD should be signed. I said this last week. When we get off the air and I check the sports news, we should see breaking news: CD's been signed. There is no excuse for CD Lamb to be here another week unsigned.
Yeah, but man, they have to. I think they have to before the holdout starts in training camp. So,
Absolutely.
like we said, training training camp starts in about 12, 11 days here as we record on the 13th. It starts on July 25th. So, next episode, we're going to be talking about the first couple of days of training camp and how it's gone. But what I kind of wanted to end the episode with today is Cowboy Reg. As you look into training camp for this season, what are you looking forward to? Like, what is your number one training camp battle position group that you're going to be most focused on? We're going to talk about all of them on the podcast, but which one are you looking forward to the most?
Them offensive linemen, them rookie offensive
Damn,
linemen.
Cowboy Reg, come on, man. You took mine. I had it all prepared. I thought you were going running back or wide receiver.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, our running back room is getting long in the tooth, as they say. They're older guys. I don't think training camp's going to determine what we do at running back. I think we already know what we got there, and it's a rotational thing. And Rico is going to be a household name by the end of this year. Rico, everybody, I'm going to draft him in fantasy late, and everybody's going to look, hey, what are you drafting Rico for? You go find out. You're going to find out about Rico. But no, it's not going to happen in training camp. I mean, I want to see what Guyton and BB do. And, hey, there's so many rookies on this team, right? The receiver, Flornay, we're probably pronouncing that wrong, but, hey, make some plays.
You got it.
Make some plays, and I'll learn how to pronounce your name, right? So we got a lot of rookies. I'm just going to answer, but I'm just looking forward to seeing these rookies. You see these rookies and see – you got veterans there that you think the rookies are probably going to take their spot, but they're going to show up and they're going to fight for it. So it should be an interesting training camp, should be a very interesting preseason as well. How about you? I stole your thunder with the offensive line, but I didn't go into detail. So tell us about the battles that you think is going to happen in the offensive line and what we're trying to determine.
I will get that. I will get you that answer. I want to go to Hot Take City real quick. Because like I said, you leave us comments. And questions. We are going to answer them on this podcast. Hot Take City says, I got Rico everywhere. Redraft, dynasty, best ball. I'm invested in him a lot. Yeah. That's a hot take right there. Hot take. That is not going to be. It should be a hot take. That should be good value right there. I think if you're outside of Cowboys Nation, you're going to look at the PFF rankings. They're going to tell you that the Cowboys have the worst running back room in the NFL. No one's even going to touch a Dallas Cowboys running back in their fantasy group. If you want to pick someone up in the late rounds, you get deep in the season, you always need those running backs.
Bye week, something like that. Rico.
Yeah, and just what we will do on one of these next few weeks, probably when the preseason starts right before regular season, we're going to do a Dallas Cowboys fantasy show where we talk about which Dallas Cowboys are going to be the best fantasy football players heading into next year. I haven't told Cowboy Reg yet, but I'm sure he's going to be down for that.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it'll probably be just a section. It's not going to be a full episode. It's just going to be a little section. But yeah, Hot Take City, go ahead and grab Rico Dowell. The only thing is Cowboy Reg and I are in the same fantasy football group. So which one of us is going to grab him first?
Well, whoever doesn't get Rico is stuck with Zeke. So I might have to.
I don't know.
I might have to pull the trigger on Rico bright and early. If you're looking at my boy Rico, I forgot about that. We're in the same league. Damn. Nah, he's terrible, man. Don't draft him. He ain't doing nothing.
Exactly. It should be interesting. It's always that happens with every. We've been in the same fantasy football group since I can remember, since I first started playing fantasy, and we obviously when you follow your own team, some of the guys that you want to get from your own team, and one of us always grabs one before the other. We always are pissed off.
Yep.
So it should be interesting this year. Man, I don't want to get too into it, but I got a guy that I would really like to get on this Dallas Cowboys team, and his name is Jake. So I know we're going to be fighting for that one, that tight end spot.
I might pick Fergie. I might pick Fergie one. I might take him one overall.
I'm all over
I want to just keep posting that meme. Hot take. I'm sorry. I just want to keep posting that meme of Fergie jumping over the Giants player every week and say, this guy just got me 30 points. This guy just got me 35 points. I'm going to do it for the meme. I got to have Jake Ferguson for the meme. Sorry. Got to do it.
Yeah, we'll see. But I don't want to give it all away right now. I can't wait for that little segment. So yeah, Cowboy Reg, to answer your question, what kind of specific battles am I looking most forward to? It is the offensive line, but left tackle is the one I'm really circling. As of right now, you would think Chuma Edoga is kind of the projected starter at left tackle. I really want to see what our number one pick is. Tyler Guyton. I want to see what this kid's got. Can he really take that starting spot from Chuma Edoga? I think it's absolutely a possibility.
Yeah.
And then you got, the other guy,
Well,
like I said, after we no, sorry. The other guy, like I said, after we drafted him, Nathan Thomas out of Louisiana Lafayette,
yeah.
we took late in the 7th round. He's a guy that played a lot of snaps at left tackle and had pretty good. He looked great. So I want to see if he ends up giving Tyler Guyton a little bit of press in training camp. See if he could put a little pressure on him. But we all know Tyler Guyton. He's a freak athlete. He's got a really high upside, but can he really be a starter, week 1 in the NFL?
Against Miles
That's
Garrett. Week one,
yeah,
you're
I mean,
going
that's
against
gonna be
Miles
tough.
Garrett.
And
Is that
then
what
the
we
week
want? It's tough.
yeah, it's tough, man. Um, and the other thing I'm circling right now is the center position. Right now we're
Yeah.
thinking that, Brock Hoffman's taking first center or first team snaps at center, where we got this Cooper Beebe guy who we're really high on this podcast. Brock Hoffman's been here for a few years. I mean, he's been okay, but he doesn't really move the needle for us. And my biggest thing with Cooper Beebe is I would hate if Zach Martin is truly retiring after next season. I would hate to have Cooper Beebe not play alongside Zach Martin, because I think he could potentially be. I don't want to say the next Zach Martin, but he could potentially take Martin's place at right guard
Yeah.
after Martin retires and moves on. So I would love for him to learn from Zach Martin, whether you know
Well, I
if
got
he's
I
his
got
backup or
I got a little tinfoil hat theory on that. Zach
okay.
Martin is good. My tinfoil hat theory, and this is not verified, but I think this is Zach Martin's last year, and that's why they're not training or talking about Cooper Beebe being the center. That's just putting two and two together. I think he's going to just specifically
Crack
focus
him
on being
up.
a guard. He's going to get time in. He's going to rotate in, whatever. He's going to play guard, and then he's going to take over when Martin retires at the end of the year. Otherwise, I don't know why, they're almost leaning towards that it's Hoffman's job to lose. And that's what you're kind of saying as well, is the word we're getting from the organization is it's kind of Hoffman's job to lose. Well, that doesn't match up the hype that we have for Cooper and his abilities and the way we made, got that trade to get him. The only thing that matches that is he's your successor to Zach Martin. That's the only thing that I could think of that they would be doing that for. So that's my tinfoil hat theory of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we say that is he did play. He did play a lot of games last year at the center position, but like I said, I mean, he had a few good games, but I think there's more upside there with Cooper Beebe, and
Well,
what I
I'll
hope
be I'll
that's not
be
happening.
happy. Yeah, I'd be happy if Beebe's playing center because that means Martin probably going to stick around another year. Then, so I
Yeah,
hope
I
that
think
happens.
you're onto something there. But yeah, I mean, I just it would be better if Cooper Beebe has more upside than Brock Hoffman. I'd rather him start taking snaps at center, get him to learn the position, and because yeah, I mean, he might be a rookie this year, but the guy played 5 full years of college football. Like he's been around the block, So I would love to see
Yeah.
it, but you know, I guess only time will tell. But hey, we're super excited to watch those battles. Training camp should be fun coming up next week. Can't wait to report on it. Anything else? Any parting shots today, Cowboy Reg, before we sign off today?
No, we're just getting through this off season. It's another week down. Our guys aren't signed, and we're trying to stay optimistic and positive. If one of these three guys sign, be prepared for us to be going on the air immediately and talking about it. So we hope we
Yeah.
see you before next week, everybody. because it'd be great to get one of these big three signed, and we could jump on and talk about how that impacts the others and how that structures into the salary cap and the future of the Cowboys. So we're just patiently waiting, Jerry. I know you got that 8 o'clock bedtime, but man, get that deal done, brother.
Yeah, man, it would be nice. It would be nice to wake up to a CD Lamb extension, Dak Prescott extension, just so we could see like what is the future of this team. We need to see some stability there because there's going to be a lot of question marks coming into 2024. Like you said, and I agree with you, Cowboy Reg. This is still a really good team, but I don't know if they're I'm not, well, I'm just going to say it. They're not a Super Bowl team coming in next year. And if this is the last year for DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak Prescott, or CeeDee Lamb potentially, like that's scary to me. So I really hope they can figure some of this
Zach
out and get
Martin,
some of these guys signed. And Zach Martin, sorry, I forgot about our boy Zach Martin, but you're exactly right. So that concerns me. But usually, when these things, everyone's on like vacation right now. They're doing their offseason stuff. So, like you said, maybe this is the week that they hammer out some of these things. I sure hope so. I kind of think you're onto something there with waiting for the Dak contract to see how good Trey Lance plays in training camp and the preseason. But man, we'll see. 2024, it's going to be I don't know if it's going to be a fun year for Cowboys fans, but it's going to be a fun year to have a Cowboys podcast because we're going to have a lot to talk about every week, every day.
Absolutely.
So be ready for a lot of episodes, guys, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the Dallas Cowboys world. So thank you again for tuning in. If you guys got any questions or comments, we'll leave the chat open for a couple more minutes here, but that's all I really have for today. We really appreciate y'all tuning in to another live episode of Sons of the Star. This has been Dallas Cowboy Reg. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next week. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
All right.